Hey guys, it's Kaz here, and today, of course, I'm doing the mid-year freakout tag because it's that time of the year. First of all, what? Half the year gone. Wow. It always goes too fast. So before we jump into the actual questions, we'll just throw out a few little stats. So far I've read 52 books, and that equates to 15,835 pages, which pretty decent. Also, I've thrown out two of these questions because I can't bother to do the favourite character, new character to you, and the favourite crush, because every time I do this tag, when I get to the who's your favourite fictional new crush, I'm just like, I don't really do fictional crushes, so we're just not going to do it. We've thrown out two other questions. Deal with it. Let's just go. So question one is, best book you've read so far in 2022, and my window is open and there's cars everywhere, so just give me a second. So for that question, I'm going with The House of the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I loved it. It was great. It was whimsical. I just loved the whole experience of reading this book, and it was a good time. There you go. It was also a buddy read, so I had a lot of fun because I got to talk about it with somebody as well, who also loved the book, which is always a bonus. Question two is, best sequel you've read so far in 2022, and this one was quite hard. Well, it wasn't quite hard because there was only really one answer, but it's quite hard in the fact that why is there only one answer? Why haven't I read more sequels that are great? I don't know. But I'm going with Preacher Volume 9, Alamo. This was the last book in this series. I finally read it and it was really good. And it sort of wrapped up in kind of the only way it could have wrapped up. And it was interesting, and all the storylines were, even though I wasn't sure how they were going to do it, because Volume 8 of this, there's like 27,000 things going on. I was like, how are they going to wrap up all of those things in this? But they managed to do, and it was really good. Question three is, new release you haven't read yet but want to. Little spoilers for my haul that's going to be coming out in a few days, but Gay Club by Sam and James Green. It came out this year. I bought it this month. I need to read it because I love Sam and James Green. He's a great author and he always makes me laugh, and I'm sure this is going to be wonderful. Question four is, most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and I'm not one to keep up with new releases, but straight away, Grey Warren, Maggie C. Votter, third book in the Dreamer trilogy. Yes, it's like the only book I know is coming out and I know I want to read it, and it's coming out 2 days before my birthday, so like I know that it's coming out and I want to read it. All of the books, who knows when they're going to come out. I'll see a book and be like, oh, is that out? Is that an author I like? Didn't even know they were writing a new book. That's the sort of person I am. But Grey Warren, very much looking forward to it. Question five is biggest disappointment, and this hurts my soul because I wish it wasn't. But I'm going to have to say Aristotle and Dante Dive into the Water of the World by Benjamin Alea Sainz. Don't get me wrong, I gave this book 3.5 stars, which is not terrible. It's not amazing. Like, I absolutely adored the first book, and there were several things in this that I was just not a massive fan of. But 3.5 stars, decent read. But I've had this marked as want to read since 2016, when it was announced that it was going to exist. 2016. And then it came out in 2022. And then I read it, and then I was sad because it didn't live up to what I was hoping for. 6 years. 6 years I anticipated this book. So it had a lot of weight on its shoulders, realistically. So yeah, unfortunately, this one. Question six is biggest surprise. I'm gonna have to go over to the picture again and say The Weight of Our Sky is what I think it's called. Let me just quickly have a look. The Weight of Our Sky, yes, because I read two books with almost the same title in that month. But The Weight of Our Sky was a online comic that I read. Basically, I saw Kayla over Books at Lala talk about the book. She mentioned that there was an online comic version. I searched it up because I thought, oh, that sounds kind of interesting, and then I read it and it was really good. And I'd never heard of the book before she mentioned it. I never had any interest in the book because I didn't know it existed. And then I randomly, like straight after that video, went and read it online, and it was just really, really good. So yeah, it's about a girl and she's dealing with a riot that happened in the country, but also she's dealing with OCD, but she doesn't know it's OCD. She thinks she has a djinn in her that's like evil and doing bad stuff. It was really good anyway. Yes. Question seven is favourite new author, either new to you or debut. And this one, honestly, this one was the hardest question on here, I think, because although I have read books by authors that I've not read before, nobody's name like jumps out at me as like, wow, I really am looking forward to reading all the rest of their work, which is unfortunate because you know, it's nice to find new authors and think, wow, that's amazing, I really want to read more of them. But yeah, I've read through all the books I've read this year and no one really jumped out. So I'm going to have to go with F.A. Wordsley, who wrote Shackleton's Boat Journey, because I really enjoyed this book. I found it for like 50p in a charity shop and I read it and it was really good. It's about Shackleton's boat journey, as you can tell, and F.A. Wordsley was also the captain of that journey, so he was there, and the way he writes about it is just really interesting and really fun. And he also wrote Endurance, which is like the main book about Shackleton's boat journey, so I'm looking forward to reading that. So new to me author that I want to read more of, so yeah, I had to go with this one. We're not doing question 8 and 9, so this is a perfect time to head over to the message from one of the spons, and then I shall be back with the rest of the questions. I'm not looking at you, I'm not even watching you. So question 10 is a book that made you cry. I had a look on Goodreads and all of the books that I've marked down as Don't Wet the Page With Your Tears, which is a shelf I have on Goodreads. I've had 9 books so far this year. 9 books I've cried at out of 52. I'm a crier. But I had to go with this one, which is The Raising by Stephen Dos Santos. This is the 3rd book in the Torchkeeper trilogy. It's my least favourite of the series. I gave it 3 stars. But it was the only book out of those 9 books where I looked on Goodreads and I instantly knew exactly what had happened to make me cry. Like other books, I maybe had a vague knowledge of like, oh yeah, I think something happened about this and maybe that's when I cried. Some of them I'm like, I can't remember exactly when I cried, but I must have done because I've marked it down in this. This one, I know exactly what happened and it made me cry a lot. So it's obviously going to have to be the answer to this question. There you go. It wasn't a bad book, let me just throw that out there. I did give it 3 stars, but that's because it centred less on all the characters and only on 2 of the characters, and I liked the whole ensemble, so it kind of missed the mark there for me. But yeah, the ending, well, just before the ending happened, something else happened, and I cried lots, so yes. Question 11 is a book that made you happy, and I'm going to have to grab onto my boy Simon James Green again, and this month I read Noah Goes Nuclear, which is this little 35-page novella that's about Noah from the Noah Can't Even series. I've had it as like an ebook for ages and I don't know why I didn't read it so far, but I did, and it made me laugh and it was really fun and it was a good time, like all of his books. So boom, made me happy. One of the only authors I read that actually makes me laugh out loud, and this little 34-page novella made me laugh out loud, so yes. So question 12 is the most beautiful book you've bought so far or received so far, and I have something in mind, but I'm not going to say it because watch my haul in a few days. So instead of that book, I'm going to go with this book, which is the Nansen Photographs, and as you can see it's really so massive and unnecessary but also great, and it's full of great pictures and stuff, and I don't even know if you can see it because my face isn't here, but yeah. It's wonderful. So there you go. It's also freaking heavy, I'm sure you can tell by how massive it is. And then question 13, the last question of the tag, is what book do you have to read by the end of the year? So each year I have a TBR for that year, just some books that I want to get to. This year my 2022 TBR has 22 books on it. So far I've read 11 of them. I'm currently reading 1 more, so I only have 9 more to go, which is pretty decent. Halfway through the year, more than halfway through my TBR, although I do have mostly the bigger books on it still because that's the sort of person I am, you know, read the little easier books first and then just have all the big ones. So I do have these sort of stats here. So on that 2022 TBR I have 4 non-fiction books. I've read 2 of them and I'm currently reading another one, so I only have 1 more of those to read, which is pretty decent, getting the non-fiction read. I had 2 thrillers on there. I've read 1 of them, have 1 of them to read. I have 4 sci-fi books on there. Again, read 2 of them, have 2 more to read, so pretty decent. I have 5 contemporary books on there and I've read 4 of them because they're the easiest ones to read, so of course I read them ones first. I have 1 graphic novel on there which I haven't read yet because I'm fingers crossed hoping that the Get Graphic With It readathon will happen again. It normally happens in October around there, I think, perhaps. And generally on the prompts there's always one like read a graphic novel over a certain amount of pages, and it's quite a big one that I've got, so fingers crossed I can save it for then. And then the last one is the one that I'm not doing the best on. So I have 6 fantasy books and I've read 2 of them, so I still have 4 more to go. And technically one of those books I want to read the other 2 books, like reread the other 2 books in the series first, so you know, I need to get on that one. But all in all, I'm at a pretty decent place with my 2022 TBR because I only have 9 left to read. Or 11 if I count the 2 rereads, which is still half of them read in the first half of the year, so winning. So yeah, let me know down below anything if you want. Do you have books that you have to read? What is your most anticipated book that's coming out? Not very good with new releases, I don't remember them, so maybe you'll mention one. I'll be like, oh shit, is that coming out? I want to read that. Maybe. Say that down there if you want. But yeah, if this is your first video about me and you enjoy it, then please check out some of my others, and if you continue to enjoy, then please subscribe, that'd be awesome. Anyway guys, I'll see you in a few days with another video.